Yeah. I mean, they sent that report over warning people, but yeah, they didn't bother to pick up the phone. They didn't bother to take it seriously. So,
Not at all.
wow.
A lot of
So,
stuff.
no, what was that?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did anything that happened on January 6th at the Capitol change your political views or world views? Like, was there anything that you saw or witnessed or heard that you went like, oh, wow, like
Yeah.
I really need to reevaluate?
Is that only politically wise, like political wise, or just mindset
In
overall?
any way. Yeah, in any
Mhm.
way. Like, did you have a different view of the police? Did you have a different view of maybe Trump supporters or politicians? Anything? Just,
Yeah, of course. I mean, I understood that police were willing to overlook certain things. So it's like the government itself. They were willing to allow things happen for certain people, and other people, they will be extremely harsh on, like, as far as like people's rights to protest and people's ability to commit certain criminal activities. I mean, what stood out to me is like nobody in the Capitol was detained or arrested. Like no one was put in handcuffs. They were just shoved out the door. Good
allowed to
day,
go home.
goodbye. Yeah, it's like I've seen so many things where people are just getting detained right there, and that's just how it is. But regardless of that, changed my mindset on like the leniency of these different systems and how they are infiltrated by right wing organizations, and
Hmm.
how they support that. Like the police supported that. The Capitol Police supported that, and it might be hard for people to hear, but they did. And there's plenty of video of them opening doors for people and just opening the front gates and allowing protesters in. So tell me that they're not working with them. And the FBI overlooks it. And then, not only that, but Trump advocates for all of that transpiring. Rudy Giuliani, and not only that, they get away with it in a way. So it's just like these things like change my mindset in that way. And then also to see the sort of hatred and a lot of racism inside the Capitol. I mean, people camped Auschwitz shirts, right? If I
Yeah.
said that right, like
Yeah. Auschwitz. Yeah.
Confederate flags. I'm just like, you're hitting cops with the flagpoles. It changed my perspective on how like what they were willing to do, and then also how many Americans are that way. Like that day, I was shocked by how many people showed up and who were down for what they were doing and they didn't have any question about it. So I mean, it made me a little bit worried for wherever the country's at. So that changed my mind. And then also seeing somebody die, obviously, I can't really, I can't describe that how that affects me, other than it's like sort of a deep sense of sorrow or confusion and frustration. Because I mean, it's never easy to see somebody die, even if you think it's wrong what they're doing. I mean,
Mm.
I'd rather them be put in handcuffs and get shot, but it's not up for me to determine that. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty depressed for quite some time after seeing that. I mean, for months, I didn't even like, yeah, I didn't like, I couldn't do the normal things in my life. Like I'm telling you, just like washing dishes, doing laundry, things like that. I don't know why I was depressed, but it just had a really big effect on me. So like that is one of the more specific events from the Capitol. But I think overall, it just showed me what America, or I guess the right side of America, is willing to do, and that a lot of people are ignorant and racist as well. And so I can't say that that doesn't affect how I look at people from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. And has anything happened after January 6th that's changed your views or feelings? Like,
Um,
especially, a lot of the anger and hate directed at you and blame.
yes, I mean the fact that I was arrested, I found it quite interesting because I mean I never supported Trump and I never cared to, and I was arrested on some charges that are like directly related to me having to support Trump, like obstruction of official proceeding. Like, never in my life have I had a mindset of like wanting to stop the the official proceeding that day. Never do I care to support the Trump's narrative that day. So like I'm like hard pressed to figure out why. I mean, how they're using that, like the justification in that. But regardless of that, because I don't want to get into specifics because legal stuff. But what I can say is that the people on way they treated me based on like narratives that are not even true, based on like basically the media took it, spun it in the way that they could use it to fit, their own propaganda to get clicks and views. And so did the politicians to use it to their advantage to say that Trump supporters didn't do the riot at the Capitol, that Antifa did it. So yeah, I mean, them pinpointing me and blaming me just showed me that they don't care about the individual. They don't care about the person. They're just going to do whatever, they can to get ahead. And that only furthers, my point in the corruption in the system, that whatever it takes for them to get ahead, they're going to step on anybody. And it doesn't matter if they ruin your life in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. So knowing what you know now, everything that happened that day that you weren't aware of at the time, knowing what's happened to you legally, being arrested, everything, all the fallout afterwards from the right and the left. Would you do anything different? Would you have done anything different that day? Would you have not gone? Do you have any regrets?
See, that thought crossed my mind. People bring it up to me as well. I mean, I wouldn't do anything different because I wouldn't have captured what I captured that day if I did, and things wouldn't have been told the way that they are told now. I can only imagine if nobody caught the entire shooting of Ashli Babbit on film, if nobody caught that, and only, let's say, InfoWars caught the backside, nobody would know the cop, nobody would know like specifically the actions leading up to that from the angle that I took. Nobody would know a timeline because my footage actually helps people piece together when people breach the Capitol, because it's just one continuous video. I mean, so many other news outlets and people who are doing documentaries, they are using my footage as reference, as a timeline to build it around other pieces. So, I mean, would I do anything different? Absolutely not, because I didn't go there to commit violence. I didn't go there to overturn an election. I went there to do exactly what I did, right? Is to document. And I did just that. And, are you saying because I've gotten charged and negative things have came out of what I've done? Well, it's naive for people to think that you can only have positive things happen to your life, and that if you do something that is, let's say this is the first time in history that this has ever happened in the way that it did, that people have breached the Capitol and stormed the Capitol, you have to be willing to accept, the negative ramifications that come with it as well, because with the positive, there's the negative. And so my mindset is going into that, I was like, I'm willing to accept, whatever negative consequences might come of it, whether that's me being stabbed or beat up by the Proud Boys. I don't know. Whether that's me being arrested, didn't know. But that's what you have to, when you put yourself in positions like that, vulnerable positions, you have to be willing to accept all of it and then deal with it the best that you can afterwards. But think about how boring your life would be if you didn't take chances, and how nothing would have changed in society if you didn't do things that would put you out of your comfort zone to help you grow as an individual, to help you face bigger challenges to come. And so that's, how I treat everything that I face in life, especially if, it's one thing if I've done something and it was wrong for me to do. I can own up to that, and I should feel bad, really bad about that. Like, I take full responsibility for that. But it's another thing to have things happen to you that are not in your own control, and facing those head on and overcoming those challenges and allowing it to shape you to become a better person, first off, and face the challenges that are to come. Because for me, I believe every single challenge in your life is there to help you face the tougher challenges that are to come. And so this is just an example of that for myself, is that, I have to overcome these challenges. Yes, it freaking sucks, but at the end of the day, I'm going to become a better person. I know what I've done. Like, I know what I've done. I've known if I committed those acts, if I am a criminal, if I'm not a criminal. And for me, if I can live with myself internally and have that peace within myself, because I know who I am and not what people tell me, like who I should be, that is where, I can have that sort of being content with myself, being okay with myself, and being able to live, because I can only imagine if I did the things that they say I've done, or if I have done things that are sort of heinous acts upon, our democracy, that I would feel the guilt. I would feel some sort of hiding, and I would hide away, and I would not want to speak about it. And for me, I just don't feel that. I don't feel that because I never had an intention. I'm not a violent person. I'm not a person who seeks harm towards others. So it's all about being able to live with yourself and not allow other people's judgments to affect how you would shape your actions, because then you're not being and doing the things that you want to do, because people will say a whole bunch of things about you. And, are you going to allow it to affect how you do things going forward? Maybe people are like, I hate your YouTube channel. You should change it to be this and this and this and this. And, seriously, like I'm sure somebody has said it to you along the road. If they haven't, they might. But what I'm saying, if you change that, right? If you change that, then you wouldn't be doing what you wanted to do. You're doing what that person wants you to do. And so that's where I'm saying, like, you have to hold true to what you initially set out to do, and true to yourself, and not waver off the path of what other people are saying about you. And tell you where I learned this from is from like training for the Olympics for speed skating. What I did for like the entirety of my life, like 20 plus years, I did that. So, and that just taught me, the mentality and the mindset of like going through tough situations, going through hard situations, suffering. Like, I can tell you 6-hour bike rides and in the mountains, and you're going to suffer. Like, it's just, you put yourself through that. You're dead for weeks. And so like mentally strong and physically fit sort of taught me the mindset that I use now. And also just being able to face the craziness that occurs out there at the protesting. So it's not like I just like suddenly got this ability to like face the craziness. No, it's just like through building different skill sets consistently. But to answer your question, no, I don't feel any guilt.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, you're resolved in it. There's some people, I do, I don't. But yeah, if you know who you are and you know what your intention was, then yeah, I guess you wouldn't regret it. And like you said, people are going to talk. People are going to say what they're going to say. And so what's next for you? What, do you have anything big planned, or are you just going to keep documenting events, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm just trying to ride out the storm for now. I'm trying to ride it out, get the past charges. That's a lot of, that's the main thing that's weighing down on me at the time. I can't worry about, going out and documenting some more stuff. I might do different forms of documentation, maybe doing documentaries and stuff about individuals, but I can't travel outside the state. I can't do some things that would enable me to document protests and stuff like I normally do. But yeah, right now it's just like, for me, it's a time of just, hey, I'm just going to take a sit. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to learn some different skill sets. So, I've been just going to online courses on school, studying web design, video production, stuff like that. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, just utilizing my time. That's what people don't know, but I just sit in a dark room most of the day on a computer. Like that's what I do. People think like I'm out there just like plotting and rioting and stuff. Like, the funny thing is people like take video for face value and they think that's all that you do. Like, you forget about like 99.9% of the entirety of my other time that I spent on everything else. It's just like the video is what I want you to see, yes, but you don't see everything that goes into it. You don't see
Right.
the hours of work. So, and I'm sure you relate with your YouTube channel. People don't know the amount of work you put into it on the back end.
Oh yeah, all the editing, the graphics, the everything. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. Long, long days.
Beating your head against the wall when you're trying to get something to fit just right. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like for people to know? Anything that, maybe you want to elaborate on or go back to that we touched on?
I mean, we talked about a lot. I mean, we definitely covered a lot, which, yeah.
I told you I had a lot of questions for you.
You really do. You really do. I guess the only thing that I would say, I've said it before, I'm not here to shun people's beliefs and what they believe in. Like, that's never my intention. Like, I truly believe that people should be able to believe in what they want to believe in to an extent. I mean, if you're somebody who's a Nazi who wants to kill all the Jews, that's a different situation. But for the majority of people, like, cool, if you want to believe in conspiracies, go do your thing. Like, I'm not here to tell you not to, but what changes that when you start committing violence and hurting other people, that changes the situation. So then then that's how I got to do something, regardless if I'm a journalist or not. If you see somebody get hurt, I mean, you should speak up about it. If your rights are being violated, you should speak up about it. Like, people are like, that's the thing I want to say. People are saying, because I have done activism, right, that I can't be a journalist. Well, my counter to that is, if I'm advocating for my civil rights, right, my basic rights under the Constitution, like, I'm not doing anything politically, nothing like that. I'm just saying, hey, what you're doing to me is unjust. And my protesting stemmed from Provo, because what they did to me in arresting me was not fair. It was unjust. And so I was mad about it, because I wasn't organizing or doing anything. And so I spoke up about it, because you're violating my rights for basically, I would say, freedom of press, to be there and record and document. And then they came into my house with no warrant, but there's a whole bunch of things that I was protesting for. So if you're saying I cannot do that and be a journalist, then they're not a good, I feel, in my opinion, they're not a good journalist, because they wouldn't want your basic rights. They wouldn't be doing and telling the truth and upholding, basically justice itself. Because with journalism, you're going to report on things that are, unconstitutional, things that, you should tell everybody that, the government's violating this, and this, and, this is how they're doing it. And they should be upholding the Constitution based on this. And would you say that's advocating for, something? Sure, it is. And it's reporting on facts, but, no journalist is unbiased. Sorry to break it to you. CNN, Fox News, all of them have their narratives. So that's what I want to say to that.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, it's human beings. So they do have a preconceived idea. They do have a bias. Everybody. I mean, whether it's Tucker Carlson or Rachel Maddow. I mean, yeah.
Seriously.
So some are a little more, let's say, less honest than others in their giving their opinions, or maybe giving the facts, I should say. But yeah, everybody has a bias. I have a bias. That's why, I don't try to hide it from people. I tell people I'm extremely progressive. I'm so far left, I'm practically falling off the edge of the of the flat world. So, but yeah, everybody does. Anybody who says, "Oh, I'm not," I don't take sides. No, you have a position. Everybody has a position.
Those are the people you should watch out for, because they're putting on a face and lying to you, because I mean, everybody has a motive. And
you can have, like, you have views that would be considered more left leaning, and you have views that are considered more right leaning. I'm the same way. I'm kind of in the middle, based on, on like the death penalty. I'm kind of in the middle based on abortion. I'm like, I don't necessarily like it, but I don't like taking rights away from women. So, I would never stop a woman from doing what she wants to do with her body. But, do I like the idea of it? No, But yeah, anybody who says, oh no, I'm 100% this way, or I'm 100% that way, or I don't take a position on either side. Yeah, I don't necessarily, I guess I could see some people being 100% on one side or the other, which I don't necessarily think is that healthy.
Yeah, I mean that at that point they're just believing in whatever is set in the time, like because that
Yeah.
changes, like policy changes and the way political parties are ran changes. So like they're just saying whatever Trump says, I believe in. And they're not thinking for themselves as what they're doing.
No, it's not realistic. I mean, the world is not black and white. There's shades of gray, as we learned from the movie.
Yes, we did. Yeah, you're entirely right, though. You're right. I mean, it's just hard for me to see anybody as just being a true, unbiased source of information. It's just you take that information that they give you, and then you go and connect it with other people who are reporting on the same thing. If you come to the conclusion that it's true based on that or false, that's a good way to investigate situations. And it's not people are going to report, and reporting is just telling you what is transpiring in that moment. And because, like you said, humans have a perspective. It's whatever that person is perceiving in that moment in time. So based on my prior experiences in life, that's what I'm going to shape that experience to be. I could smell or see or hear something different than the person who is standing next to me. He could hear something completely different. So would he report on something different than what you reported on? He would. And so,
it goes through our personal filter of our personal, like you said, our all of our beliefs, which are shaped by everything we've lived through, what we're currently living through and doing, who we're surrounded by. I mean, yeah, it all goes through every person's individual filter.
It does. I have a question for you. Do you think everybody in the Capitol should have been arrested that day?
I do. I do. And the reason I say that is because I've seen people go to the Capitol to just voice their beliefs and opinions on, let's say, healthcare as a human right. And I've seen people arrested who are disabled, people who posed zero threat to the members of Congress. They were literally just there doing like a sit-in, and they were arrested, and they've been given slaps on the wrist, like so many of these people who just simply went into the Capitol and didn't commit any violent acts. And I do believe there were different categories of people there that day. And so they shouldn't all be given a blanket, set of charges, or, their sentencing shouldn't all be the same. So, yeah, but I do believe that by being part of that group of people, being part of that mob, they allowed for the more violent, actions to be taken that day. Had those people who just went in and walked around and took photos and then left, had they not done that, they wouldn't have taken the time and attention away from the police officers who could have been helping with the people, what was going on in the tunnel.
You're right. You're
so,
right. You're 100% right.
Like I said, there's a difference. Like, I think that, you going into the Capitol filming, if you're truly just a journalist like the AP or anybody else, then no, I don't believe in arresting members of the press. So, based on what the grand jury looks at and what prosecutors are able to put together, do I think that you deserve a lengthy prison sentence? No, I don't. I mean, there's so many of these people that are just getting like probation for a short period of time. So I believe that that's probably what will happen with your case, but who knows what's going to come up. I don't know what other information they may be privy to that I haven't seen. But yeah, I
Sure.
believe that the people who went in the Capitol for the explicit purpose of stopping the vote and who bought into this lie, yeah, I think that they should face some sort of consequences because they fell for the big lie. They fell for this nonsense about, the election being stolen. They knew that there were people in that crowd who were worked up, who, they knew they weren't supposed to be in there.
Mhm.
They knew that they were breaking the law.
True.
I mean, just to go to visit the Capitol, you have to go through a multi-step process. They have to
Didn't know
do
that.
like a background check. They have to vet you. They have to, check your ID, all this stuff. So the people who went in knew they were there for a nefarious purpose. They knew that they weren't supposed to be there. And like I said, they did take the attention away from the officers from dealing with the people who were, like you said, there were people who were assaulting cops, even outside of that West Tunnel area.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just based on what I've seen before from people being arrested, and I can say some of the people who were arrested, like protesting for health insurance and things like that. I mean, they were let go. They didn't face any kind of penalty, but they were arrested. It is on their record. So, yeah,
You changed my mind. You changed my
I
mind.
think a lot of those people, they knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
They knew what they were there for, and they knew that they were trying to stop the certification of the vote. So even
Right.
if they weren't violent, they were still there not for the right reason.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You changed my mind, actually. You did change my
Okay.
mind. I thought that some people shouldn't get arrested, but you're right. I mean, people who are just like out of protest, advocating for whatever they believe in, they get arrested. So, I mean, should it be any different than what happened at the Capitol? So I agree. People who went there to protest, I mean, they should be held accountable for that. 100%. Do you think after our conversation, or basically whatever you have seen about me, and do you think I was there to protest, or what do you think about the situation? What do you think I was there for? I don't care what you say. It's just whatever you think.
I believe you when you say you wanted to document it. I don't know. I can't put myself in your shoes. Obviously, I wasn't there. Sitting at home in the safety of my own home, I say, would I have made as many comments or been as vocal about, burning the place down, or, would I have made those type of comments? No, I probably, I maybe would have put on a MAGA hat or something to protect myself or something like that, or, God, guns, and Trump sweatshirt, like some of these people, to blend in more. But, again, I wasn't there. I haven't been to these protests like you have. So you've seen it up close and personal. So I'm not going to judge you on that. I'm not going to, make any assumption one way or the other. You know what these things have been like, what these protests devolve into. So I don't know what's in a person's heart.
Mhm.
So, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. So I have to take it at face value. I have to trust you when you say that was your intention. That's why you were saying the things that you were for protection.
I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
until I see evidence otherwise, I'm gonna trust you. And you did give me other information that's changed my mind. I was like a little suspect when people were saying, oh, you brought the Proud Boys on stage and handed them the mic or the loudspeaker or whatever. You gave a very plausible explanation on that. And I can understand how that whole situation got out of control in Provo, and everybody was upset with you, and you felt like you kind of had to try to play peacemaker in some way to bring the temperature down. So like I said, until I see evidence to the contrary, I'm going to believe what you're saying and take you at your word. You seem like a very forthcoming person. You seem like, you're being honest. I'm typically a good judge of character. I don't get a sense from you that you're bullshitting me or that, you're being duplicitous in any way. So yeah,
Appreciate that.
at this point in time, I believe what you're saying.